4 Wisconsin election clerks referred 46 instances of suspected fraud and voter irregularities to prosecutors. That's related to the 2024 presidential election. In total, 127 cases of potential fraud were referred to prosecutors between September 13th and November 5th of this year. That's according to the report from the Wisconsin Elections Commission. The report did not identify anyone by name or who they were attempting to vote for. A previous report showed 30 referrals of potential fraud. Also,